Alright, take two. Going into the engine room. Welcome aboard, everybody. This is 80-foot Ocean Alexander 2009. And we're currently in Friday Harbor, Washington on San Juan Island. And it's early January 2017. Next week, we'll be headed down to Newport Beach, California. That's our final destination. So here in the engine room, we've got twin Cat C32s. Each one puts out about 1,600 horsepower. And here in the middle of the engine room, on the forward bulkhead, we've got 4 Raycor filters, 2 for each engine. And you can see they're both set up right now for the outboard filter on the port side and the inboard filter on the starboard side. And all I have to do is switch that lever 180 degrees, so when we're underway we can switch filters if we need to. Sea chest right here in the middle of the engine room. I'm going to make sure this is nice and cleaned out before I head south next week. Up here in the colder waters, it doesn't get very, this engine strainer, main engine strainer, doesn't get very dirty. But we'll do it just the same to make sure as we leave the dock, everything is good to go. On the outboard side, on the port engine there, outboard of the port engine, we've got 3 air conditioner units. Underneath the air conditioner units, we've got the port Northern Lights 25 kilowatt generator. Same thing on the starboard side, except we've got 4 units, air conditioning units there. And a 25 kilowatt Northern Lights generator there. That is a hydraulic pump for the tender up on the upper deck. So when we put the tender in the water, it's got a hydraulic crane on it, and that's the hydraulic unit for it. As we move back here, this is port exhaust. And we have the starboard exhaust. It's a hydraulic reservoir. We have a bow thruster, a stern thruster, and an anchor windlass. And this also stabilizers. And this is the hydraulic reservoir that holds all of our hydraulic oil for that. And it looks a little low right now, but it's so cold in here that that hydraulic oil has compressed, or decreases its volume. So once the engine room comes up to temperature, we make sure it's up to temperature before we leave. That's why it looks a little low, but it's not actually low. It's just in a warmer climate, this reservoir is completely full. Got hydraulic manifold over there, and so if we were to lose electronic control of the hydraulics, we can actually do a manual operation of those if we need to. And you can see I've got a Zorb under there, and that way if we do spring a leak, I just like to be able to catch anything, and it's an easy way to make sure if there are any drips, you can make sure you see them without actually having to clean up any small messes. Same thing up here. Once this is up to temperature, this is a good spot for failures to start to occur. Got all these joints, the seal on top of the hydraulic reservoir. If you get a small leak, you've got a Zorb there, and it will actually, it's really easy to see because you've got brown oil on a white Zorb, and so it's nice to be able to catch that early. Down there, that's the dual Raycor filter system on the starboard generator. You can see I've got that lever switched to the outboard strainer, or the outboard filter, and if for some reason I needed to switch filters, all I've got to do is change it over 180 degrees, and I've got a fresh filter to work off of. This boat does not have a toolbox, so when I got on board it had 0 tools, nothing, and so I've had to put a collection of tools together, but there's not a good spot to store them, so got this one over here on this side, we got another toolbox over here on this side, and a box there, and this one here is what I started with, and then I just kept growing. This is just all of these tool holders. I've got all of these at Home Depot. They're the Husky brand. This one hangs off of the engine room door, and it's got nice compartments. And this is what I started with, and then once I had all the basics that I felt comfortable with, that's when I started expanding into other things that I thought I needed in order to make sure we had on board. Out there, there's some of our house batteries. I have an extra 50 amp shore power cable. That's just an extension basically. And behind the shore power cable, that's part of the water maker unit. You can see the pump and one of the pre-filters there before it gets to the membranes, and behind that you can see part of the generator exhaust, and then the big part there, that's the main engine exhaust and generator exhaust, and the pre-filter and the high pressure pump for the water maker membranes. More of the water maker, FCI water maker, hydraulic steering system, house batteries. And I always keep this towel. This is what I call the engine room towel, and that way if I need to have something to lay on, or if I get a spill in here, I've always got something ready to go. Just kind of I just like to keep it there, and it sits well there. Well, that's basically some of the stuff here about main engine room here. These are some of our battery switches here. This is the main starboard engine switch, port engine switch. They're both in the on position. If I wanted to parallel the main engine batteries, if I wanted to parallel the port engine battery and the starboard engine batteries, I could turn this to the on position. If I needed to parallel the service batteries, the house batteries, and the engine batteries, I can do that. So, say if I have a port engine's dead, the batteries for the port engines are dead, I could parallel those with the starboard engine. For some reason, if all of the main engine batteries were dead, I could parallel those with the service batteries or the house batteries. This control bank here is for the electronic engine controls. And we've got coolant levels there. Again, it's pretty chilly in here right now, but once the engines get warm, or the engine room gets warm, those will rise up. The volume will increase on the coolant there. Generator battery switches here. Port generator switches here. Starboard generator switches there. If I wanted to parallel both of those generators together, or the batteries of those generators together, that switch is there. And when I got on board, the port generator did have a bad battery, and every time I wanted to start the port generator, I had to parallel the engines, or parallel the generator's batteries together. Big fans, that's the exhaust fan for the engine room. There's the fan controls, and that is the intake on the port side there. Inverter charger, engine bank, battery charger, generator bank, chargers. Underneath the floor here is where our engine batteries are. Down there, generator battery for the starboard side. Down there, generator battery for the port side. And house batteries back over there. And main engine batteries underneath the floor here. You can pull these platforms up. So that's some basics about this 2009 80-foot Ocean Alexander engine room. If you have any questions, I'd love to be able to try and answer them. I'm new at making videos on YouTube, so bear with me with my camera work. One last thing, sight gauge there. You can see about 950 gallons at the top there. And I don't know if the camera picks it up or not. We currently have about 800 gallons or 600 gallons aside. Let's top those tanks off before we head south to Newport Beach. We'll probably make one stop, at least one stop for fuel on the way south to Newport Beach, California, leaving from Friday Harbor. All right, thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions or thoughts.